Hello, I'm Ty. This is my wife Cece, and this is our birth story of Benjamin being born. So,
Benjamin Charles Austin, born January 30th, 2023. So actually, I began my care during my pregnancy under the care of an OBGYN. And by the time I had the second appointment, I was pretty unimpressed with the care. It was pretty clear that they wanted to tell me all the rules, what I can't do, can't eat this, can't do this, but without wanting to discuss any of the risks behind those rules. So I started to question how I wanted to have my son, where I wanted to have him, and started to look into midwifery home birth care. Really, the idea of having a hospital birth was the only thing that made me anxious the whole time I was pregnant. So it was about almost third trimester by the time I made the switch. So I met with Ashley Bennett at staying home. Yes, staying home.
yes.
I don't know. I'm missing it. You're just gonna have to cut that out.
That's fine.
Okay, pause. Staying home.
Staying home birth.
Staying home birth. Yeah. Okay. It didn't sound right.
It's okay. I'm not worried about it. I'm gonna ignore you. I want you to just don't worry about me.
So I met with Ashley Bennett from Staying Home Birth in Chattanooga, and she answered all my questions. We talked through what home birth looked like, kind of different risks, her experience, and she answered everything and made me feel like it was really the right thing for us. So after discussing with Ty, I really thought he wouldn't be on board with home birth, but just everything that Ashley had to say, the different model of care, how bad hospitals can be, and the fact that Ty was going to have to fight for everything I wanted the entire way in the hospital really helped us to be sure that this was the right thing for us. So I made the change. We started with prenatal care with Ashley in home. Fast forward, it's like time to have a baby. So I went 42 weeks and 1 day. And so I know that having Ashley as our midwife made a big difference, because on one hand, almost everyone that we know has been induced, whether they were 42 weeks or 39 weeks. So there's that. Lots of doctors induce, and then a lot of the midwives, even the other one that I talked to here in Chattanooga, said she didn't want her clients to go past 41.3 or 41.4. So I know that having Ashley in particular for us made a huge difference in not having medical interventions, because I did go 42 weeks and 1 day. Yeah. So we made it to the day.
Yeah. So 3:45, 4 o'clock in the morning on January 30th, I get a nudge saying, "Hey, I think maybe my water broke, and I'm having contractions about 10 minutes apart. I think this is actually happening now." Finally, after 42 weeks in a day. So I rush in to set up the birthing pool, and she runs herself a warm bath. And so as she's trying to relax and work through the contractions, setting up the birthing pool so she can hopefully be able to relax a little more later. It wasn't too long after that. Contractions pick up. We notify Ashley that it's happening finally. And she's having contractions probably once every 5 minutes or so. Just able to finally get in the birthing pool and soak, and that seemed to really help alleviate a lot of the pressure and overall discomfort that she was having during each contraction. About 10 o'clock or so, Ashley shows up, checks all the vitals. Everything's okay, we're doing great. We start going through some different positions to try and help work Benjamin through her pelvis, and try to help move along in the birthing process.
Yeah, Ashley was watching me labor, and kind of from afar, it really felt like it was just us, at least from my perspective. But when she saw that things were kind of moving slowly, she suggested a few different positions to help his head kind of navigate through my pelvis.
Any step along the way, she would take an occasional Doppler reading to see how things were going, make sure that he was doing okay as well, as Cece.
Yeah. So I labored in the pool, on the bed, hanging in the doorway,
On the toilet.
on the toilet.
On the yoga ball. So a whole plethora of positions
Pretty
to try
much
and
everything except for laying on my back, I think.
to try and slowly move him, like I said, through her pelvis and then to be birthed.
Yeah, so at one point I was on the toilet and Ashley's monitoring the whole time, more frequently towards the end as things were kind of
Progressing.
moving faster. But at one point I was sitting on the toilet and she used the Doppler to listen to Benjamin's heartbeat, and he had a deceleration, so it's very slow heartbeat that everyone in the room could hear. You want to kind of talk about what that was like?
So everyone's fairly certain what's going on. No one's super pleased, obviously, but Ash looks over calmly to us, says, "Okay, Cece, I want to move you to somewhere else, and then we will retake the heartbeat for Benjamin and make a plan."
Yeah, she said, "Okay." Or she said, "Hold on, you have to." What'd she say exactly? She said, "I'm gonna have you move to the bedroom, lay on your left side, I think something like that. I'm gonna monitor him some more, and then we'll make a plan." But it was very like.
It was very calm. There was no real sense of tension or anxiousness in her voice, which was certainly helpful for us, having seen something that was potentially not ideal, but as a result, we didn't really get or feel super anxious as a result either, though. Like, it was just very nicely and say, "Hey, want to try something else?" and check things out and figure out where we go from here.
Yeah, so then we went to lay down in bed and she was monitoring him, and he again immediately sounded perfect, so no problems. It was pretty soon after that that I could feel my body starting to push. So we kind of slowly made our way back to the tub or to the pool because that was just more comfortable. And again, tried a few different positions. At one point I was like pulling on some cords that were in the pool. I got down on kind of like all fours there at the end. I probably pushed for an hour, hour and a half or so. But eventually his head came out, and Ashley spoke very calmly. She said, "Okay, this is it. On the next contraction, I'm gonna have you like pull him up to you. Just pull him up to your chest, and I'll help, make sure his core's good and everything." So that happened. I pulled him up. After he was born, I was able to pull him up myself to my chest, and really just kind of
Enjoy the moment.
Yeah, enjoy the moment. It was kind of felt like it was just us, even though there was really Ashley and her assistant Chloe, and my sister was in the room too. It still felt like really just us in the pool. Right, that. So I had uninterrupted skin time there for quite a while.
15 minutes, half an hour at least.
Well, so at 15 minutes, we had delayed cord clamping, so it was about 15 minutes later, and then Ty was able to cut the cord, and I was still holding Benjamin. About 45 minutes after his birth, we had a retained placenta, so I still hadn't passed the placenta, and so we kind of handed Benjamin off to Ty, and Ashley took me into the other room to try a few different things to help encourage the placenta to be born. Eventually, actually, she went ahead and administered a shot of Pitocin to help encourage that, and that worked beautifully within like 10 minutes probably of getting the Pitocin. The placenta's out, and then she checked it for completeness, and yeah, it was all good.
From there, it was mostly just Cece and I hanging out with Benjamin, and then just enjoying him. As as they picked things up and sort of put our apartment back to where it was prior to the birth.
Yeah, we got to just hang out. It sounds silly, but I mean, we really just got to hang out with our baby until we were ready for him to be weighed and do the official assessment. Of course, Ashley was checking him out, kind of from afar. She just wasn't taking him away until we were ready. So I think it was 4 hours after he was born before he was weighed and measured, and just kind of the official.
All the standard things were done.
And then Ashley and Chloe, again, yeah, they helped clean up, and they also helped make sure that we had warm, delicious food to eat. She would make sure we had dinner. Actually, we skipped over that part too, but she wanted to make sure I ate and was well nourished and had drinks throughout the entire labor as well. On immediately there, putting a cup in front of me, here, take a sip. So that was really good too.
And then even from there was also paying a special attention to making sure that she was able to get Benjamin to latch and trying to help start the breastfeeding process, which we know can be pretty tenuous at times for a lot of first-time moms. And so that was super helpful in navigating positions and different techniques and whatnot, trying to make sure that he's able to latch and to eat.
Yeah, I can remember Chloe came in and was like, you should try the football hold. That one worked really well for me. And just kind of giving tips for breastfeeding without coming up and let me help you. Just nice help. I don't know how to quite explain that. And then she left. I think Ashley was here 14 hours that day.
About, yes.
So she left, but then she came back at 24 hours.
Yeah, it was nice to wake up the next morning and there was a text saying, "Hey, how are things doing? How are you feeling? I'll see you later on this afternoon, and we'll just make sure everything's going okay." Yeah,
we got to spend the first night in our own bed. Get to sleep. That was so nice.
Yeah, no interruptions from anyone but Benjamin throughout the night, which was quite nice.
But Ashley came back after 24 hours to do, the 24-hour things. The PKU and some other tests for Benjamin, checked me out. And then her postpartum care continued on for
the next 6
forever.
weeks. It was multiple visits of asking how Benjamin was doing, seeing how Cece was doing, making sure that
nursing was going.
Make sure he was gaining weight, and seeing that she was healing okay from the birth process, that everything was just as smooth moving as possible. And that was very comforting and very important for me throughout the process, with picking a midwife for birth versus going to the hospital. They just kind of turned loose at the hospital and here you go, you'll figure it out. But it was nice to know that Cece was in good hands and adjusting to postpartum life, at least for the immediate events that followed.
I think Ashley was really calming for us too. It was just doesn't overthink it, is this working for you? Are you comfortable? Benjamin's gaining weight. It's working.
Right. Don't make it harder than you have to, because at the end of the day, what matters is that he's healthy, she's healthy, and that's really it. That everyone's healthy and happy.
She was also, I think, extra reassuring there at the end. Kind of rewinding to pregnancy. So 42 weeks in one day, just very we're still in the realm of normal. Everything's good. Which sounds really simple. I don't know, not a big deal, but I know that if we had been under the care of OBGYN, that story would have been very different, and we would have felt a lot more of that stress.
Yeah, there would have been much more push for induction or a cesarean, things of that nature, and things that just outside the realm of what our birth plan was. And we were able to keep to our birth plan and have an unmedicated, healthy baby.